What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of a Disc Golf Podcast. As you can see, daylight savings time has started. Also, we're recording the podcast a little earlier than normal in the day, so we may have to change some things around so that we can see us a little bit better on the camera. But until then, this is what you got. I'm darker than normal. Anyway, welcome to this episode. We're going to talk about Pro Tour stuff. We're going to talk about kind of what's going on in the disc golf world. And at the end of the day, hope you just enjoy the episode. What's up? I'm Philip. This is Brendan.
I'm Brendan. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, man. Brendan is back. Finally. It took him forever. For a minute, he thought he was going to quit the podcast forever.
That's not true.
And he sabotaged his car on purpose so that he couldn't get here.
Yeah, I really wanted to pay all that money.
We had to get George. Nothing wrong with George, but I missed you, man.
Yeah, I missed you too, for real. I was sad.
All right. So let's talk about WACO.
Yeah.
WACO was last week. Actually, hold on. Let's honor the man who created what is on your hat. Say his name.
Sad day, Akira Toriyama.
Yeah, there you go. Sad day for anime fans all around the world, especially, man, specifically this dude really, I feel like, shaped a generation. There's a bunch of people now who like anime because of this man.
Oh, I'd say more than one generation.
For sure. I mean, so just talking about growing up in the early 2000s, Toonami, Dragon Ball Z was all the rage, and that opened me up to Naruto. That opened me up to it kind of opened my mind to like, okay, this is not only is this like awesome, it's actually kind of acceptable, like to like this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so we all bond over this kind of stuff, and so I did see some cringy video of Stephen A. Smith someone ask him on his podcast or on one of his shows, who would he take in a fight, Goku or Vegeta? And do you know how he read it? He said, "Who would I take in a fight, Goku or Vegeta?" I'm just gonna say Goku, and like he was jumping on this
he wasn't
trend.
wrong at least.
I mean, he wasn't. I guess he wasn't wrong, but he was saying, "I'm gonna say Goku because I know how to, because I don't even know who the other guy is." Is what he said.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, don't even talk about it if you don't know. Real quick, what's your favorite anime, Brendan? Ooh, that's a hard one. Top 3, go.
Top 3, Dragon Ball Z, number 1.
Okay.
Because Dragon Ball Z. Number 2, Yu Yu Hakusho.
Ooh, there you go.
And then number 3, I don't know.
Okay.
Does Pokemon count?
Yeah, it counts. It counts.
Because I grew up in the 90s. So.
Yeah. My top 3, not nostalgia's sake, my top 3 are Full Metal Alchemist, Yu Yu Hakusho is up there, and I think last time it was either Cowboy Bebop or Sword Art Online. It was Cowboy Bebop. I like Cowboy Bebop. I have a list of this stuff that I kind of keep up with. But anyway.
I could see that.
Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about disc golf.
Yeah.
WACO, the WACO Annual Charity Open happened this past weekend, and our winner is from MPO is Gannon Burr.
Gannon Burr.
Man, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm a little surprised at going from how the weekend started to how it ended, but
yeah,
I like Gannon, so
sure.
I'm okay with it.
Weird weekend to be playing disc golf, like, because the first 2 days you were in a different time.
Yeah.
Or the first 3 days you're in a different time.
Yeah.
And then Saturday night you go to bed, you wake up, you lose an hour.
I was gonna say, don't forget lose an hour.
You lose an hour, and then Sunday, it's daylight for longer, right? Like those first 2, the second day they didn't even finish. Like they got close.
It would be weird playing, and then the next day just all of a sudden be like, oh hey, it's different now, and it's brighter outside, and now you can actually see what you're doing. So
yeah, it would be. I agree. But yeah, so he takes it down. Did you watch it?
I didn't get to.
Okay.
I was still watching it. I've had a weird week, so
I feel you, dude. I've also had a weird week, but yeah, man, I watched as much as I could. I didn't watch it every day, but I did watch MPO in the last round, and it came down to where it came down to Nicholas Antela, Luke Humphreys, and Gannon Burr.
I did get to see the end.
Okay.
I did watch. Yeah.
And Nicholas Antela, he played well, but he also got some fortune off of a wall. I was watching some of that today. He got some fortune off of a wall to where he probably should have been OB. The wall kicked him back in. It was weird. I don't think that should happen ever, but don't get me wrong, I like Nicholas Antela. And so me and my buddies, or a couple of my buddies, we're texting. like during this thing.
Yeah.
And Spencer, who's been on the show, was like, I definitely want Nicholas Antela to win. I was like, no, I want either of the other two.
You don't want the guy that hit the wall to stay in
Nah,
to win it.
It's not. I like.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I like Nicholas. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But the other two are more entertaining for me. And we got to talking about Gannon Burr.
I wanted Luke to win so bad.
I think everyone wanted Luke to win, and I think in a way, because I watched Gannon Burr's interview afterwards. In a way, it seemed like Gannon almost wanted Luke to get a win.
Oh yeah, the interview. Yeah.
Yeah, but the competitor in him was like, I got to win this.
Yeah. What was it? He said something along the lines of like, you want to be able to win it easy, but at the same time, like when you go back and watch it, you want it to be like, it to be close and fun and
for sure.
Awesome.
And I think we can talk about the last 3 holes. Or was it the last 2 holes where the exciting stuff happened? So
it was the next last hole, wasn't it? Yeah.
So man, I'm mixing it up now. But one, so let's say 17. 17, they throw their hole. That's supposed to be a birdie shot. Gannon throws his shot. It's on a little hill, right? Mm-hmm. He throws his shot. It hits the hill and it stands up. And I'm like, that's going out of bounds. I mean, like Luke has won this thing because going into it, Terry Miller is like, Nicholas Antela is going to win, and I was like, the other guys still have 3 holes to play, and so anyway, it hits and it stands
everybody
up.
still had a chance,
right? It rolls and I'm like, oh, it's going out of bounds. It curls up right before going out of bounds. I'm like, that's a long putt, but Gannon can hit it. Luke parks his, so I'm thinking, man, this is in the bag.
Yeah.
So Gannon steps up, hits this huge putt. Boom. I was like, that's clutch. I don't care if you like him or not. That's a clutch putt.
It was 25 feet, wasn't it? Something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. Getting close to the circle's edge. Hits that thing. Luke hits his, but I'm like, man, win or lose, that's a big time clutch putt. Like that's, you play for moments like that. Like if you want to be great, you got to want to be great.
That's the making it look good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so we're like, man, there's some excitement. And then hole 18 comes. Gannon hits his gap, and the broadcasters made it sound like the gap that Gannon hit, where he landed, there was no chance he was getting to the basket. And so they were like, he is taking a par. Boom. Luke Humphreys, I don't remember what order they went in, but Luke Humphreys throws his shot, and it looks like he missed his line. Like it looked like he missed his line. Later conversations with him, he said he knew it was going to be okay. He knew it was going to get through the trees. Anyway, so they're throwing their shot, and I'm thinking, okay, they're both going to par, and they're going to go to a playoff. Then Luke Humphreys throws a shot, and he throws OB.
Yeah. I mean, literally, I put in my show notes, Luke Humphreys missed it by that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The man goes OB, and I'm like, oh, man, it's over. And not only does he go OB, Gannon steps up and throws the most clutch shot that you could throw. And he's, like, hyped. He's yelling, like, get through it, get over it, get over it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, this is big time. And it gets over this tree. Big hyzer gets over this tree, curls right in. I mean, the dude's circle one 20 feet away.
Oh, you could see it like on his face. Like as soon as he let it go, he was like, I just did this. Like
win, lose or draw, whether you like Gannon Burr or not, the dude clutched up. And so, I mean, he made some big time shots and putts. So I'm in on him being like that good. He is one of the dudes to watch always. I mean, like Calvin, Simon, Gannon is now one of the guys.
He makes it fun too. Like we were talking about, like he's not just a good player. Mm-hmm. He's a good player, and he's like kind of snarky. So he's fun to watch. Yeah,
it's a blast. But yeah, he's good. But I also wanted Luke Humphreys to win. Luke Humphreys, I saw a stat. Luke Humphreys is twice Gannon Burr's age, or really close to twice Gannon Burr's age.
Yeah, close.
Like that's kind of interesting. That's how that shook out. But
the other thing that I saw about Luke was that the last 2 years, 22 and 23 seasons, he's done really well. The first 2 matches and come really close. Yeah. And then kind of fallen off. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen again this year, just because these first 2 he's done even better than the last 2 years. So
yeah, stats don't lie. That is true. He has kind of like flamed out. Like the first two burning brightly and then flamed out throughout the season. But the dude's really good, and we're all rooting for him. I think it's funny. I heard his take. Like, you know, I consume a lot of disc golf content, and I heard his take on others' interviews and things like that, where he was like, "You should never run putts in." I disagree there. I think that's part of the fun of the game.
It's part of the show.
Yeah, I don't think that we should be like other sports. He talked about other sports like Steph Curry not being like ridiculous when he hits 3-pointers or stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is he is when they're big 3-pointers.
Oh yeah.
Like they do make a big deal out of stuff that's he's like when you make a putt in golf, you don't run it in kind of thing. And yeah, I agree. When I make a 30-foot putt in the middle of a round, I'm not running it in. I go get it out of the basket and we go to the next hole. If I make a 30-foot putt at the end of the round to win it or to tie it, I'm going to be pumped.
Yeah. You're going to be running in, waving your arms, like yelling at everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going
to be honest. If I make that 30-foot putt, I get excited.
I may not be doing the whole spinning around,
no,
waving at everybody, but I am going to be like, let's go, and like run it in,
I've seen you do it.
But yeah, so I'm pumped for him. Nicholas Antala, he's going to win something at some point in time. Yeah. I just had a buddy in here, Micah. He just left not too long ago. He was like, I'm tired of hearing about Nicholas Antala being underrated. He's not underrated. Everybody understands that he's good. Stop calling him underrated. With that take, I agree. I definitely agree with that. I think that he's just good. Just let him be good. He's not underrated. If you keep popping off, you're not underrated. When everyone recognizes your goodness, no longer can you be underrated, right? We all know now.
Yeah, I think his biggest problem is consistency.
Yeah, but I think he's even a fun guy. Like I enjoy.
Oh yeah, dude, he's goofy.
Yeah, he is. I'm like a middle of the road type guy. I want someone who's serious and has the eye of the tiger. But at the same time, I don't want them to take themselves too serious. And I think that's why I like Simon so much is because like he can lock in, and then like after the round, it's like this dude just won this big event, and he's for the people kind of thing, having a good time.
Yeah. Not
being too goofy.
He like tournaments, he's for real, and then he'll go home and throw a disc over his house and get it in the basket in the backyard.
Sure. So. And I talked about not liking Matty O very much because he's like too silly. He's growing on me.
I think I'm definitely liking Matty O more than I did last year.
Well, that's awesome. Me too.
So
it didn't take very much for me, but yeah, me too. Yeah, so it was a good round. Awesome. I hope disc golf continues the same way. Hopefully I can watch the entirety of the event this weekend. And speaking of that, the FPO side, the winner is Kristin Tattar. Duh. How you feel about that?
I mean, duh. Like you said, like I don't know.
It's hard to talk about it, and it's hard to make a story about it because, like, it's just a fact of life at the moment. If Kristin Tattar's playing, she's winning. The better story is, which is crazy, the better story is if someone else wins a tournament that Kristin Tattar is in. If somebody else wins, it'll blow up.
What I'm most excited to see now is who comes in second in FPO.
Like that should not happen. So, like, because it's a different contest.
Yeah.
Whatever contest Kristin is in, everyone else, it's a no contest. And like, it's not Kristin's fault. She is exciting to watch, but the competition that she's in is not. Like, it's like, okay, we get it. She's won. Stop hitting him. He's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for real. I don't remember what article I read the other day, but it was talking about like, there's Kristin Tattar, and then there's these other like 8 female, FPO players that are like probably able to win.
Yeah.
But then the fall off after that is like, so the gap is so big that it's just kind of like, okay. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Natalie Ryan had said something a couple years ago that I thought was like the dumbest thing that Natalie could have said. I think the quote was, "They need to work harder, basically, if they want to beat me." Talking about the other FPO players, and so I thought that was in poor taste and alienating the people that you're trying to not be alienated from. But
just learn how to play disc golf better.
I'm going to echo that sentiment now, not for Natalie, but for all of the women that are playing. that if they want their purses to be more, if they want the viewership to go up, they have to put the work in to at least challenge Kristin to make it exciting going into the final stretch. The last three holes, the tournament was over. Like Kristin had already won. She was winning by like 4 strokes with like 3 holes to play, and she wasn't looking back.
I mean, it's just like watching any other sport. Like if I'm watching football and the team I like or the whatever is down by like 3 touchdowns with 5 minutes to go, I'm like, okay,
right,
I'm going to turn it off and go do something else that's fun.
Or
like,
if the team you like is up by 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, either way.
You're like, this game's over.
Yeah.
If it's not the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've done it with the Super Bowl before too. Like,
right. I'm not turning. Yeah. Right. Exactly. I'm not turning it off. Like I'll leave it on and go in the other room. But like my interest is long. Like I can do other things. You won.
Yeah.
And so, I think for the sake of the FPO, we shouldn't be wishing for Kristin to not play as well, because that's what's happening right now. We're thinking, man, if Kristin can just like for 3 rounds, we're like, man, Kristin's not playing well, and she's third, right? We're like, if she keeps not playing well, she'll still get a podium finish, but we'll get to see somebody else win. I do not want to wish her downfall at all. I want her to keep playing elite disc golf. It's exciting to watch, but I want the others to like give her competition. And I think there are only I think there's like 4 or 5 women that could do it. And yeah, I think they just need to step up and do it. I think Holland Hanley has a good shot of doing it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think like you posed kind of the big question is like, is it really that she's like really that much better? Or is it just that everybody else just kind of doesn't give it as much as she does?
That's a good question, and I would fall on the fact that she really is that much better.
Oh yeah, well I mean she comes from an Olympic family, and
right,
she has that drive to be the best, and that's a whole nother.
She's
level.
That much better because she has already put the work in, and so I really do see. I mean, I think Holland Hanley. Someone opened my eyes to the idea of Ella Hansen. There's some people like I just feel like silly sitting here trying to say like this person could and this person could when none of them have shown any of that.
Well, what was it last year? Paige Pierce was the best in the world, right?
Yeah, right.
On Twitter anyway.
Paige, we've seen it. We've seen elite disc golf from her, but like at this point in time, I'm sitting here questioning, was the product we were watching before that much worse than what we're getting right now from Kristin? Because we were looking at that going, man, Paige Pierce is doing it. She really is.
Yeah.
And like 2-3 years later, now it's like she hasn't even gotten close. She doesn't even hold a candle to Kristin right now. And I know she's been injured, but even before the injury, it was like she was chasing a ghost. Like she was like swinging. I don't know how to. She's like.
It's hard to even come up with a word for what's happening.
Yeah, she's like fighting like nothing, or like it's like a 2-year-old like thinking that they're fighting, or like a small child thinking that they're fighting a giant, and it turned like the giant won.
Or a parent with their hand on their head, like just holding them back.
Like it's over. And so I don't want that to be the case. I want there to be some women like step up and be elite with Kristin. Like that would be so fun. And at the end of the day, I want Kristin to still win.
Yeah.
Because I think that she like deserves to win because of how much work she's put in, because of how well she plays. But I want it to be exciting. So that
you're good when you get sponsored by Porsche, right?
Right. Yeah. Sure. So what is the Gladiator? You think of the movie Gladiator? Before Russell Crowe goes into the ring, after he's wanting vengeance for the guy Joaquin Phoenix plays, kills his family, whatever. He's going into the ring. He wants revenge, and his owner tells him, like there's more to winning this fight than winning this fight. He wanted him to win the crowd.
Yeah. And
so, end of the day, if there's a show, and there's more of an opportunity to win the crowd. If you go in, like you go into that fight, boom, like real quick, stab him in the heart, show's over. The crowd didn't get what they wanted.
Yeah, it's a boo.
Yeah. And so I think it's not really Kristin's fault, but that's kind of the what's it called? That's kind of the illustration that I think of, like, we want a show. That's why we pay for it.
I mean, that's what was it that Simon said last year? He's like, I don't really feel like we're athletes as much as we are entertainers.
Okay.
Is one of the quotes that he had.
And I remember him talking about that, and I disagree a little bit, because I think you can be an athlete and an entertainer.
Yeah.
But I think greatness.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
It fits that more.
For sure, absolutely. I think greatness is fun to watch, but I think let's see, Michael Jordan, like, the dude was great, but he really did had to go through some elite ball teams. He had to go through like the Detroit Pistons. There was Bird, there was Magic that he was like coming off of, Clyde Drexler and with Houston. There were like some people that really were like that good, and like that had established themselves, and it always came down to, like, he had to battle through them. Right now, there's no opposition, and like even Paige, like, passing the torch. It's not like Paige is on the lead card with Kristin. It's just like, oh,
here we go.
Kristin's winning everything.
Yeah.
And so I want a Floyd Mayweather to Kristin Tattar's Mike Tyson.
You want somebody to just go out on the field and just knock her out?
I want someone who you feel like you have a legitimate chance, even though Mike Tyson is better.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't feel like we don't ever go into it thinking that. We go, even if Kristin Tattar is like not winning, we're like, okay, well, tomorrow she will be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's,
I mean, it's like that with the MPO, right? It's always a guess of who's going to be, because it goes back and forth so much.
That's exciting,
right? That's fun because
right.
you can actually, you're like, and then every time it's like, okay, who's going to win FPO next week? Kristin,
right?
I'm going to be the safe bet,
right?
And just say Kristin
for sure. If I'm picking fantasy, Kristin top of the list every time. So it's boring in some ways, like it's boring as a competition, but not boring. She's not boring to watch. They are boring to watch because she's beating them so bad.
Although I will say she has put out some videos on how to putt and how to throw here recently, so maybe that'll help.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For that, there's the show we're all looking for. All right, so we got another pro tour event coming up this weekend. They open at Austin. Who you got?
I'm going with Gannon again because he won it last year.
Okay.
And he's coming off this hype of winning last weekend, and then FPO Kristin.
Are you sure? Are you sure you
I
want to
don't
pick
know.
Kristin?
Yeah.
See, that's boring.
It is. I told you I'm going to do it every time until somebody shows me that, hey, I'm going to step up and, I don't know.
Okay, let's see.
I hate doing it, but.
Who do I want to go with? So, let's see. Lead card is Bradley Williams, Nicholas Antala, Ezra Robinson, Gannon Burr. Chase card, Mason Ford, Eula Berry, Matty O, Simon Lizotte. And then the third card is Anthony Barella, Paul McBeth, Calvin Heimberg, Isaac Robinson. I
do want Paul Eula to do well again.
Oh, yeah. He's had a good little start to the season here. I've enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna you're gonna go with Gannon Burr, so I have to go with someone else. I'm gonna go with someone else. Isaac Barella, Anthony Barella. I'm gonna go with Anthony Barella. He's won this year already, and I really think he's in on an awesome trajectory. So I'm gonna go with AB.
AB and Isaac Robinson were my other two.
Really?
Yeah.
On the ladies' side, you got Holland Hanley, Paige Pierce, Kristin Tattar, Valerie Mondahano on the lead card. I'm watching it.
To me though, that right there, we have a good lead card.
I'm watching it.
What's going to happen?
I'm watching it day one, and then after day one, it won't be exciting anymore. But I'm excited for the names on the card on day one, and maybe they'll push each other. I like honestly, Valerie Mondahano was one of my favorite FPO players. Katie likes her. I think I like her. I hope that she bounces back this year. Oh, and we'll talk about something in just a second.
Okay.
So Kristin Tattar. So who do you think's number 2? We both say Kristin Tattar won.
Holland Hanley.
I'll go with. See, that's what I wanted to go with.
Sorry.
I'm gonna go with.
Just pick Holland.
I'm
gonna
go with Valerie Mondahano just to go with something else.
I like Holland though.
Me too.
Ever since you were like, "Hey, you need to watch her," I was like, "Okay." And I started watching. I was like, "Oh." Okay.
She's good. Evelina Solinen's good. If she would hit putts, they did like a study. If she would hit putts, she would win. And so maybe
she would work
maybe
on
she's
those
the
more
one.
after last year.
I think that she probably does. I think it's, man.
Well, clearly she did a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And man, yips are a thing. Like I've lost tournaments by a stroke because of yips. And like you're sitting there, okay, I got this, no problem. Your heart's beating. You release it to the right for some reason.
I think last time we played together, you 4-putted when you were like really close to the basket, and we were just playing for fun.
I can definitely do that.
Granted, the weather wasn't great.
Yeah. Don't talk to me. Okay. And I wanted to say real quick about the FPO division. Someone brought this to my attention. I think I'm just going to have to start having Eric on because he brings some good like subject matter to my attention.
We should call him during the middle of the show.
That's a good idea.
Phone the Eric.
The PDGA FPO division, they're starting to get like more like women that are with child. They're starting to be more pregnancies. So you have Katrina Allen, and you've got Macy Vela Diaz, and I don't know who else, but I'm just saying those two stick out to me, and I'm sure there will be more.
Those are the two that are the headlines anyway.
But I think that Eric brought it up. He thinks that Kristin Tattar actually may be the reason that we're starting to see some pregnancies in the FPO division, because and I thought he was saying that like, well, we're not going to win anyway. We might as well get pregnant.
That's what I was just taking.
I thought he was saying that, and I was like, I don't think so. He was saying because, and I think he has heard something from Elaine King where it's like you can be married, go ahead, have your boyfriend, do your thing, but if you want to be competitive on the pro tour, you don't need to have kids. Well, Kristin Tattar
proved to everybody
completely threw that take in the mud. Like she has kids, or she has kid, at least one, and she is just, again, like we said, smacking people. So I think the idea of being able to have a child as a woman and still compete, like be highly competitive in disc golf, is now like maybe somewhat like on the forefront of their brains. That's Eric's.
That makes way more sense than the way I first thought you meant.
Yeah. That's Eric's take, and I don't dislike the take. The more I thought about it, the more I'm like, there could be some like validity to that.
Or it could just be that, they're all kind of getting around that age too.
Macy and Katrina are very different ages.
They're different ages.
But that's okay. All right. So I found some stories. I like to go on Disc Golf Reddit, and I want to talk about some of the things on Disc Golf Reddit. But there's a new disc golf course. Have you watched this?
I watched the video when you sent it to me.
Man, new disc golf course going in Lansing, Michigan. Looks great, but for some reason it's a news story. Let's talk about it. So do you want to try and explain what's going on here?
So apparently it's at like a driving range.
Like the Parks and Rec
Yeah,
owns.
it's like the Parks and Rec owns it. They said it's like a 52-acre park. And they're
Amazing.
wanting to add. They couldn't figure out what to add to it because, quote, we're trying to find something to do because it floods a lot.
I did.
Was
hear
the
them say
first
that.
thing that he said.
He
And
did
I
say that.
laughed really hard at first, and then I was like, well, river bottom. Okay.
Yeah, what else can you do with land that floods kind of often?
Yeah.
Not often. He didn't say it floods a lot, but what I heard was it floods a lot.
Yeah, that's basically,
yeah.
It wasn't quoted word for word, but
He said, what did he say? He was saying,
he said
like,
disc golf
it
is
floods
all that we
sometimes.
can put there because of flooding.
Yeah, right. And
Because the creek floods, is what he said.
and so that was cool. I was like, that's awesome. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Honestly,
And it looks nice.
Yeah,
Like,
it looks really beautiful. And like, I get it. Disc golf, we get cast off land sometimes because it is like, what else can you do with it? Like,
But it makes it more fun to me. To me,
Yeah.
like that cast off land, that makes those shots that you're like, it's not just big, long bomb shots all the time. Right?
Absolutely. And so they're getting this course, and there's these two ladies on there.
The natural preschool?
Yeah, there's a preschool. Like I said, natural.
I
preschool,
didn't look
I
it
don't know what
up.
that means.
I don't know what that
There's
means.
a preschool. I don't want to look into the preschool either. But basically, like, this disc golf course will be too close. I don't know how close they would be to the preschool, and so the kids would never get to go outside and play.
Yeah, they didn't say never. They just said it would cut down on the time they get to go outside.
Or
Which
that's
I'm
the
guessing
way-
maybe that's what natural means, is they get to go outside a lot.
I don't
know.
know. That's the way they framed it. Like, we're never gonna get to go outside ever.
First of all, though, one of the ladies worked at the daycare. The other one was a mom
Yeah.
of a kid.
Right,
So
right.
we gotta specify on that one, because does the mom live around the area?
I don't know. very biased take. It was obvious that it's very biased. Yeah, so I'm just gonna say, like, you look it up. This interview is hilarious. Like, this whole news story is hilarious. For some reason, it's a news story, but it made me think, like, this is like two in the last 2 weeks that I've like heard some stories about for the first time, and maybe I've just been blind to it, but stories about disc golf courses either being shut down or being opposed by the public.
Well, the funny thing is, actually, they actually had meetings with the community that it's closest to, and like the suburbs and everything. And like apparently it passed with like flying colors.
Right.
They're not going to have to spend any money. They're not going to have to borrow any money. It comes out of like some kind of fund.
Right.
And I was like, so it's literally just the preschool.
Yeah, like they were like, we want to know where this money's coming from. I'm like, lady, listen, the Parks and Rec at most is spending like, I don't know how much it cost us per basket when we were buying things, but spending like $8,000 to $10,000 on this thing, right? And so, like, that may seem like a lot of money. It's not. Okay,
not
for a
Parks
whole
and Recreation
facility. Yeah, Parks and
for a whole.
Like, you get a whole facility. Like, you're not putting a baseball field in. You're not having to level any land. You're literally just sticking stuff in the ground. And so it's a win-win, because if you're already taking care of it, you're not paying anything extra. It's for maintenance. And like you're bringing people into your community, especially if it was a nice course, right?
Yeah.
And so like
they literally just have to mow, which they're already doing because it's
right.
Yeah.
It's part. So they're like, it's just a weird. And then there's a church course that got shut down because this lawyer slipped and broke his ankle on a tee pad or something. And
no, he was walking.
Okay. Well, he broke his ankle on the course, and from what I understand, someone advised this guy, like someone from the church said, go ahead and claim it against our insurance policy, which is nice. Like, it's nice for the church to say that. But he did that after, and he had like, it cost a lot of money, whatever. And then when the church went to re-up their insurance, the insurance was astronomically higher.
Yeah. It was something to do with the way that he like sued the insurance to get the money.
Gotcha. And so, because the insurance was astronomically higher, that church said it's not worth it, and they are like, we're taking down the disc golf
It was
course.
really sad because I saw there was like a couple of people. I can't remember who the girl was, but it was like her home course.
I saw that, yeah.
And like she played it like almost every day. She's
sponsored,
yeah,
by MVP or something like that.
She's not that old,
yeah,
either. And it was really sad to see like something like that, and it's at a church too. So
like, once you do that, are you stuck? Like, was he like? Are you able to withdraw? Like your, like,
he didn't seem like he wanted to.
Right. So like,
I don't know, but
if I withdraw this and my insurance is covering it, cool. Like, if I withdraw this, do we get to keep the course? Because I'm always like, any sport, I think that I'm playing at my own risk kind of thing, unless I'm in a school or on a official like organization.
Yeah.
And disc golf is not like that. I think that like I'm playing at my own risk, and so I would think if I fell on the disc golf course or if I injured myself on the disc golf course, I'm just gonna go to the doctor and get it taken care of.
I really think it was like something along the lines of like he stepped on a root and that's how he did it. Like he fell, and I was like, this is just you not paying attention, really,
right,
is what it all comes down to. But
yeah,
apples and oranges, whatever.
It's wild. I mean, there are situations where I think like church. That's why you have insurance for the church. Like, there are situations where, like, I'm grateful. Like, I work at a church. I'm a pastor at a church. I'm grateful that we have insurance. And there are times when we would advise people to use it. In fact, we were on a mission trip, and Charlie, co-owner, when he got injured here, he ended up using some of the church's insurance to cover some medical bills that were very high. And so there's a reason that we have it. But I just think that if you're a disc golfer and you love the sport and you're out there and it happens to you, cool. And if I'm in a situation, I'm going, can I withdraw this insurance claim, or can I withdraw this suit? Really?
Yeah.
But that's me.
Yeah. I don't know. It really seemed like it was one of those things where like somebody was going out and looking for something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Possible.
Which I hate to say that. I'm not trying to be judgy or anything.
Yeah,
but,
whoever you are.
But yeah.
Looking for trouble, huh?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I feel bad for that.
Sad day.
That anytime a disc golf course gets shut down for any kind of reason, but that one is like the worst. It's like a double trouble. It's a church and a disc golf course. Just boom. A church is trying to do something nice for the community, and now it's like taken away. All right.
It's a nice course too. Just want to throw that.
That's what I heard.
Had benches and everything.
All right. Here's some questions. Some like things about you. If you had to take a disc golf week-long trip anywhere, where would you go?
Okay. Where would I go? I thought about this one a little bit. I would go to Florida, first of all, because all the videos I see from like, Calvin playing in Florida and like a bunch of other people, who was just down there a little while ago. Anthony Bonanza disc golf was down there not too long ago. And just, okay, so I said Florida first.
All right.
Then North Carolina.
Okay.
Okay, because I've looked up some courses in North Carolina. That looks like a lot of fun.
Why would you go to Florida?
Because just all the videos I've watched, like of like the YouTubers that I follow, and I've seen some videos of like some of the skins matches and stuff down there.
Yeah.
The courses are really cool, and I like how like the trees are way different than playing up here in Tennessee, right? Because it's all low hanging, lots of low hanging stuff, and you have to throw like tunnel shots and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Looks like fun.
Okay.
I don't have a big arm, so stuff like that.
Cool.
And then the last one would be Massachusetts.
Okay. Because
of Simon.
Okay.
And
I think
he's one of my favorite players.
Would he be with you on this vacation?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. I would call him up and be like, "Let's go play." He's watched the podcast. I mean, come on,
definitely. I'm going. I haven't really thought this one out through very much. I'm going to Maple Hill. I just want to go play up there, and then after I play Maple Hill, I'll decide if I like it, and if I don't like it, I'll go and try some other things out. I'll go find other places, but if I do like it, I'll just play it multiple times.
Okay.
The other place, I would go that like disc golf island, wherever that is, that European disc golf island where they had like it's like a resort.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what it's called.
I don't either, but that's where I would go if that happened. I don't know if that was a real report or not, but that's where I'd go. Cool beans. That's what I would do. All right, listen, Paige Pierce, she is making moves.
Where?
Just kidding. She's coming back here to Manchester, Tennessee for Bonnaroo. Last year she did a disc golf clinic at Bonnaroo. She's doing that again.
Are you going to go to her clinic?
No, I'm not even going to go to Bonnaroo, man.
Probably a good choice.
I love the idea of like economy and all that stuff, but man, it just brings so much traffic through here. It's annoying. But they have some good things. There's some good things going on. Cool Paige. Yeah, that's awesome. Whatever. Will we ever see Paige win again?
Honestly, I mean, there's a chance, but probably not.
I mean, I'm kind of worried about that same thing.
There's always a chance, right?
She's still the name, right? Like, she still is Paige Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
But
she's fierce, bro.
To me, I haven't seen anyone I can't think of anyone besides Simon whose interests have been spread so thin that continue to win. Like when Eagle has won, his YouTube channel suffers, right?
Yep. Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Simon, I think the same thing. I think that when he's won, there's been an aspect of his kind of thing that has his whole like media thing that's kind of suffered, but not really. I think he's done it the best. But like Paul McBeth started the Paul McBeth Foundation. Like his interests have kind of varied and gone away from specifically disc golf. Yeah, and he's got his wife pregnant and all that other stuff. And so he I don't know if
it's definitely weird for me, like coming in last year to disc golf, and hearing Paul McBeth,
mm-hmm.
and then like,
you haven't seen it.
I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Like who?
Why is he on all these discs? 6-time what? What is he? He's a 6-time loser? I don't know.
I have gone back and watched his old matches, but yeah.
So like and then like Brody Smith, he's very. I think if Brody really could focus like literally on just being the best player, I think he could squeak some wins out. I think you look at Paul Ulibarri. Hey, Ulibarri's having like a resurgent year. will we see him win? If we do, I'll put him on the list of people that are like because he's
spread out. Yeah, I was gonna say.
And I'll be like, man, you can do it. So
is Big Germ coming back?
I don't know. He has like some flashes in the pan every now and then. Luke Humphries, he does like this. He's also one that's like very spread out, kind of thing. Well, like who is the best multifaceted disc golf in the game right now? I would say Simon Lizotte, because like disc golf, like player, I guess what I'm trying like he is
player /
he is the best player of the multifaceted people. Like he's a player / media dude, YouTube, like varying interest.
Disc golf coach.
Coach. He's the best of those. I think that's just current. That could change, but that's my take on who is the best renaissance man of disc golf. It's got to be Simon Lizotte. But Paul Ulibarri's he might make a strong case this year if he keeps playing well. Paige Pierce, I don't know if we'll see her win again because of that. She's varying interest. She kind of talked about not even really caring about winning. A couple years ago, she talked about that.
Which is really interesting after seeing how she talked last year.
Yeah, I think, man, she talks such a big.
I think she goes back and forth in wanting it too much that it's just kind of like, eh.
I think she's into her girlfriend a lot now. And I think that, I don't know, we'll see. I would like to see. I posed this question: if she would do what Simon did, because she was the person in the FPO that was like, okay, the FPO, the way they're going to play this hole, it's a par 4. They're going to lay up to here, then they're going to lay up to here, then they're going to put it next to the basket, and they're going to put it in. Or they're going to lay up to here, they're going to do a really good shot, then it's going to go to the basket and get a birdie. And she was the one that's like, I'm challenging that OB. I'm going to throw it 400 feet, 450, 500 feet over this OB and maybe get an eagle. And that hasn't really worked out for her the last couple of years. And so I'm wondering if she would like dial it back a little bit and do like the Simon thing and start playing more like smart golf. Maybe she'd get some wins. I don't know. The talent's there, but I don't know if we'll see her win again. Coming back from an injury is also hard.
Yeah, that's the big thing with like all the people I think that have like, that we talk about. They're like, oh man, they're so good. Like I wish they would come back and I wish they would do well. It's like, man, all these people have some sort of injury that we're talking about, or have had something recently happen that is holding them back from actually being able to really put their full focus in, their full force. Yeah, I guess
for sure,
for lack of a better.
So you think no? You don't think, like, if you had to say yes or no, you take Paige winning again? Let's just say this year, Paige winning an event this year, or the field beating her every time.
Could she podium? Yes.
I didn't ask podium.
Win? No.
You're saying
I don't see her winning.
You're taking the field.
Yep.
I would need to know what exact events she is playing and what exact events Kristin Tattar is playing. And like,
we're back to this.
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple more competitors. I would need to know which events Holland Hanley's playing, Evelina Salonen. I need to know when the top players are playing, but Kristin can't be there. Yeah, if Kristin's not there, then I would take Paige Pierce to win one this year, at least one. Kristin's there, I'm taking the field, because the one that Paige could have won, Kristin would
beat her out.
Would win it.
I got you.
And Paige will get second by 4 strokes, because that's the way FPO is going right now.
We need to keep up with this one.
We do
for real.
Yeah. But I mean, that won't be hard to keep up with.
No.
Paige Pierce wins. Let's go. Yeah. I was right. Paige Pierce doesn't win.
Not gonna happen.
Okay. I'll give it to her. I think she just has done so much in the past to prove herself that I think that we'll see one. We'll see her squeak one out that Kristin's not at. And Kristin's not playing all of them, I'm pretty sure. All right. This is a question that I had that I've started to think about. Are people too worried about their form too early in their disc golf game? You're still pretty early in your disc golf game. Your disc golf like
scooping the ice
career kind of thing. I think I got to play for a couple years, and I wish that I would have had the information that people have now, but I got to play for some years, lots of years, without like any kind of like coaching. And did I form some bad habits? Yes, but there are habits in my game now that I learned just goofing off
from
and
feel
playing. Yeah, and feel like forehanding putters that is, to me, feels as as natural of a part of the game as there is, and that's not. But that's just something that I was like, I'm gonna learn this. I'm gonna throw these, and I didn't look it up on YouTube.
It's super smooth when you. Yeah.
Well, thanks, bro. I was like, I'm gonna learn this. Forehands. When I was like, I'm gonna get this there, and I would try something and it wouldn't work, and I would eventually. I was like, I'm throwing this forehand 400 feet. Boom. That's what I got to do.
Stand still.
No, not stand still. And so, I guess I'm asking the question, like, is there too much information out there right now for people learning disc golf?
So I have kind of like a two-sided thing to this.
Okay.
To like worried about the form too early. I don't think you can be worried too early about it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the too much information. Yeah. When it comes into play, it's like, well, so-and-so says I need to do this. Well, so-and-so says I need to do this. Yeah. And it, like, I mean, we've talked, right? I've tried to get you to help me with some stuff. Sure. And you're like, well, you're doing this. I'm like, well, I know I'm doing that. Yeah. How do I fix it? And you're like, I don't know. Yeah. Like,
I'm not the best teacher.
Well, it's not just you. It's other people that I played with too. And it's like I can't get my brain to do the things that people are asking. And I think it's kind of like what you said. Eventually, you've just kind of got to fill it out. Right. You know, and because, I mean, you know, I've 1 out of every 20 throws I get, I'm like, man, that was really smooth. Yeah. That went really far. Didn't immediately splash to the ground or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that felt really good. And somebody's like, well, what'd you do? I don't know. Right. Like, yeah. I don't know what I did.
If you look at the Pro Tour, like, and there are people that round on the Pro Tour. There are people that do that's a problem that they have is rounding. Like, when you, like, Own throws, like, these flex forehand shots, you've got Matty O, whose putting style is the most unique putting style you'll ever see. And they're competing, and it's because, and, like, the reason that their form is different like that is because that's what they've been able to practice. That's what they've like learned, and that's what they've honed in on. I think you find something that you do good, you hone in on that, and you do it well. I think so. I commend them for that. But now we've got all the. I just think there's so much information out there. People are like, they can't focus on one thing. They're like, oh, but I need to fix my release angle. Maybe I don't need to fix my release angle because this video over here said I need to turn my hips this way a little bit more. But I start turning my hips a little bit more, and I think I'm doing that well, or maybe I'm not. But this video said don't worry about your hips. Like, there's even conflicting information. Mm-hmm, yeah. And so I think figuring out what works best for you, I think it kind of ignites. You need to, first off, you need to ignite your, like, competitor with yourself. I'm not saying you. I'm saying just anyone. If you're trying to learn, if you set a goal, I'm going to throw a disc 300 feet, and you go to a field and set that 300 feet marker out, and throw a bunch of discs and see which ones go 300 feet, or if any of them do, or which ones go the furthest. You go, I need to do that, or like say you only make it to 250. I need to throw that harder, or I need to change something. I just think that there's something to this, like, training. I'm sure you can learn bad habits.
Field work.
I just think there's something to, like, knowing who you are kind of thing.
There was something really cool that I read too. Well, not cool for me because I'm 35, but that, like, everybody's like, oh, why are these younger guys so good at it? And it's because a lot of times too, like, these athletic muscle groups, like, the older you get, if you've not really, like, I quit working out for a while, if you can't tell. But if you've not really been, like, working on those for a long time, right? Like, you lose those muscle groups. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily lose them, but you like, they don't work like they're supposed to. Yeah. And so when you're older and you're trying to learn how to play, like, guys, I say I'm older, 35, but you know what I mean? Like, when you're older trying to play, it's harder to get that perfect angle, or, you know, that that snap or whatever it is that you're looking for. And everybody's like, well, why are these young guys so good at it? It's because they're young, athletic dudes, girls, whatever. Right. And it's like their bodies are able to do those things. Well, we've got to learn a different way. And I don't think there's a right or wrong way for us older guys.
When I'm teaching my kids to throw disc golf disc, what I'm doing first and foremost is letting them have fun. Yeah. Right. And so, like, I get them the lighter disc, and I say, like, I give them pointers if they want to try and throw it farther. But my oldest is 6, so, like, when he throws it far, or when he throws it short, I don't go, you need to fix this, this, and this. I go, it's okay, buddy. Let's throw it again. When he throws it long, I say, good job, buddy. Do that again.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think we can do that even as adults learning for the first time. When you throw a disc 200 feet, you're like, okay, I threw that 200 feet. I need to do that again if I need 200 feet. And then once you get to a point where your game is like you're comfortable with your game and you're shooting better, once you hit a plateau there, then you're like, okay, I need to find some information to fix this. But I just think that it's like the information the information is like handing a bazooka to someone who I don't know. It's like handing a bazooka to a 6-year-old. You can't pick it up. You don't know what the buttons do. You like kind of thing. It's a useful thing. It's like, and it's great, but
quit throwing those up.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Right. What does that mean?
I thought I threw it down.
Right. Quit throwing those up. Quit rounding. Like, and those are great things, but like I think there's a point where there's too much information too early. It's like here you go. It's like jumping into level 30 of a game when you haven't played the tutorial.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
For us gamers, I know exactly what you mean. Or coming back.
Right.
It's like come back to a video game you haven't played in forever, and then you're like, what was I doing? What was I doing?
It's like
what does this button do?
You jump into Dark Souls and you're on like a big boss and you forgot like 10 years ago when you lost the tutorial boss.
Sword?
Yeah, exactly. I think you pick up somebody else's game. That's what's happened. You're playing on somebody else's account and you're on level 30 and you've never played the tutorial. And I think that's what's going on with.
It kind of hurts because I feel like that's exactly what's happening.
I'm not aiming this at you. I'm just saying.
No.
Like level 1 you should be running around like swinging the sword, hitting things, or throwing the disc in different ways and having fun with it. And it's true, playing with players that are better than you make you better. But I think there's like a formative time when you and your friends who are like starting similarly at the same time go out, and like when you and Charlie play,
yeah,
you're not worried about anyone else.
Oh no,
you guys are competing with each other, and I think that because you guys are of similar ilk and similar time frame of starting the game, you push each other, and you're not worried. I don't think when I was trying to beat somebody, I wasn't worried about my form. I was like, how do I get this disc to go right there?
Yep.
You know.
Yep. And it's funny because like that you say that because. I mean, me and Charlie, we tell each other that. Like, if we're playing a tournament together or whatever, my goal is to beat you.
Right.
Like that's what matters. Mm-hmm. And it's like when I'm in that mindset, it's almost like my body kind of does it what it's supposed to without.
How do I get my disc right there? That's all I'm worried about.
At least most of the time. Sometimes it doesn't. It still doesn't work. But you know, that's just part of being new to the game, right?
So I really don't think there's too much information out there, but I do. There's a lot.
There is. That's part of the problem.
There's too much information out there, but then there are people who in a good way really want to better themselves and get better at the game quick, but they don't have any footing yet to
it's just like anything else. There's no real like true quick way to do it, right? Like you have to put in the work, you have to put in the time.
I think back to those years. I wish that I would have known about the information sooner, but I think back to those years when we first started playing. My buddy Evan got us all into it, and like we would just go and goof off at Barfield and like, roller, look what I can do. Hey, I bet if I throw this upside down, it's to do this. And like, yeah, some of that stuff was like wasted. But other times, like we just played so much that it was like, and we had that time to go do it, that we did develop some good habits. Mm-hmm. And now when I was looking stuff up, it was how do I get rid of habits, or how do I add? I'm throwing 350 feet. Like I'm competing with MA2. I'm competing with some MA1 guys. How do I try and push myself to elite? I
think that's part of the problem with us newer players, though.
Yeah, is
what you just said with like, I'm throwing 350 feet. How can I get it further? Mm-hmm. Whereas us newer players, we need to be like, how can I throw this, mid-range,
right?
And get it to go exactly where I want it to go, right? Like it's that smart golf,
right?
And a lot of us, we watch the pros. I watched you. I mean, like we've played together, and I'm like, man, I wish I could do that. And then I throw something, I'm just like, I don't have the arm for that at all.
Yeah.
So
and that, like I said, that comes with like experimenting and like taking. It's cool to watch those videos. if you like videos, that's cool. If they've helped you, that's awesome. And I think they do help. But I think like experimenting and taking like we used to find those like, okay, there's something to that, like 13 when we first started playing and we weren't looking up anything. We were like, the groove is a 13 speed and we're going to figure out how to make this thing work. Like, I think trying to make it work is such a fun and foundational piece of the game. Because I think, and this may be a terrible take, but I just think it is. I think the same thing with, if you love something, you're gonna make it work. It's that old adage that's like, if you want to make a good sailor, you don't make you don't teach him how to sail. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't tell him how to hoist the sail. You don't tell him how to steer the boat. You give them a love for the sea, and then they're gonna figure it out.
Well, if you don't like what you're doing, why are you doing it?
Right.
I mean, really.
Yeah, I agree. So in disc golf, you don't go, this is how you get good. You go, this is, just love it. Just play it, enjoy it, have fun. And if it's fun,
I like this disc because it looks pretty.
I'm not against that. I tell people that all the time. If you think a disc looks cool, you're going to throw it more.
We've had this conversation.
You're going to figure it out
a lot, yeah.
It may not be the best disc for you, and you may need to change later. And Micah would completely push back on this. But if you think a disc looks cool, you're going to throw it more. Simple as that.
You're talking about trying to make stuff work. I need you to do a video on how to make the tilt work.
I took a tilt out and tried to make it work, and I don't know. I've got 3 sitting right there.
I know, that's why I saw him sitting over there, and I was like, "You need to do this video."
Anyway, I think like yes, go get your
game on.
Get your game on. Get your head in the game. Like, just go get your feet wet and throw some disc, man. It's just fun. It's just fun. Like, start with one, learn that thing.
Go throw a good line.
One. Yeah, just get out there. Couple more things that I want to hit on, and then we'll wrap up the show. But is UDisc doing too much?
No. Bro, you know me. I love UDisc so much. Like, I'm just like, just go back. Just go back to UDisc.
I'm just saying, I feel like UDisc, when I open up UDisc the other day, it's like, this is just an activity. Do you want to do an activity round? Do you want to measure this? Do you want to, like, it's like asking me a bunch of questions. They're adding a bunch of features, and I sound like I'm upset. I like the features. But, like, to me, it's almost like, oh crap, the PDGA isn't backing us anymore. We need to make something that is unbeatable right now because they're trying to beat us. And that's why I love capitalism and the free market, baby.
But to me, it's working.
It is working.
I like okay, like, some of those things might be annoying to people who have been playing for a long time too.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool to, like, again, newer players, right, that have, I can use it to do this, or I can use it to measure my throw. I can use it to, the weird rating system that they've got now in UDisc that doesn't go by anything.
I don't understand but it is what it is.
Well, my rating was better that time, for that round.
That
so
is
cool.
good, yes, to have a rating on a casual round, yeah. I like it. I like most of the things. I don't understand the activity round. I think it's just to count numbers for people, like, on the course. It's to say, hey, someone played your course, and so that you can have traffic numbers.
Yeah,
that's what it's for. It's not doing too much, but to me it looks a little desperate, but it is what it is.
To me, I like the way UDisc looks, and that's why I like it.
We're gonna get
map. You have everything.
We're gonna get an app soon, a new app, and not PDGA Live. Maybe PDGA Live will only use. Maybe they won't dive into the casual round, but it doesn't make sense for them not
to.
I think they will come up with something. Statmando
still won't be as good.
He works for UDisc, guys. All right.
No, I don't.
Cool.
Hire me.
Last, I like UDisc. I'm gonna keep using UDisc at least for this year. The price could price me out, so be careful, UDisc. You could price some of us out, but as of right now, we're good. Ratings update. Kristin Tattar, she finally hit 1,000. Just kidding. She got 990.
Like, wait a second, what?
She got 999. That's got to be the worst feeling in the world.
Everybody, especially when everybody in the disc golf world is like, she's finally going to, there was all these articles, she's finally going to do it, she's going to do it, she's going to do it. And then it comes out and it's like $9.99. And everybody's like, oh.
Wah, wah. Yeah. Ratings update here. This is fun for me. One of my goals in disc golf was to be like the highest rated player in my town. Shelbyville is not a tiny town. It's not a huge town, but I'm I'm officially the highest rated player in Shelbyville, so that's pretty cool. At 937, so that's kind of sad too. But I can thank Austin Reed for moving away, and Seth Drain for having a couple bad rounds, and Micah Thompson for not being a PDJ member right now. But I will take it. I'll take the small win.
I'm the highest rated player in my backyard.
Oh, let's go, baby!
Hey, and my rating's still going up. So
you live in Murfreesboro, so that's a hard one to top. I wonder who the highest rated player in Murfreesboro is.
Can I count myself in Shelbyville eventually? Because I feel
just move here.
I feel like I need to.
Just move here, and then you're good.
Brittany needs to watch this and
move here, Brittany. And then big news. Wrapping up with some big news. We're moving spaces. Good Line Disc Golf will be moving, so stay tuned for where that's going to be and what that's going to look like. We're going to spend more time at the courses too. We're going to have a physical location where you can still pick up. Our hours will be pretty close to the same, but we may drop a couple hours. We may switch some couple hours until the summertime, and then we may pick up some extra hours. And what this allows us to do, it allows us to be a little more flexible. It allows us to have like warehouse space. It allows us to have podcast studio space instead of just being in the shop. And it just being real.
And you can spend more on discs.
Yeah. I can get more inventory. That's the top thing. Our inventory's fine now, but I really want to focus on inventory. And this shop right here, there's a couple things about this shop. One, the air conditioning is broken, so that's not fun. And the landlord will have to fix that. My neighbors are I don't know if they ever watch this podcast, but if they do, I love my neighbors. I think that some of their patrons may be a little inconsiderate as far as parking goes, and she has done her absolute best to kind of get them to not park right in front of the door. And so there's some negative things about being here that aren't deal breakers or anything. The biggest deal breaker is I just want to pour more into the inventory. I want our inventory to be top inventory and one of the top inventories in Middle Tennessee. And where I'm at right now, that can't really happen. And so we're gonna make a move. So be ready, be looking for where we're gonna be moving, and then also it'll be a hint. It'll be closer to the main course here in Shelbyville. So that's good.
A little closer.
And then we'll. So next week we'll be closed. We'll be closed for 2 weeks as we move everything, as we move the furniture and the stock and all that stuff. So then we'll reopen and we'll probably do some kind of big sale. But
I should do a grand reopening.
I won't do that. But
mini disc golf course.
No, I'll just do a tournament Good Line's back. Guess who's back? Back again. Good Line's back. Tell a friend. You know what?
That was good.
There's a video.
That was okay.
There's a song coming. Anyway, all right. We appreciate you guys hanging around for episode number 8 or 9. I can't remember right now of a disc golf podcast. We will see you next week. Peace, yo.
We come out in the night after eating our pizza. If you're doing crimes, then we better not see ya. 'Cause we will fight you up, and who you gonna tell? We're really, really sweet. Master Splinter taught you well.